up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast. Not a negative episode. We get to talk about prospects. We do this about once a month on the channel, so if you like prospect content, make sure you are subscribed not only to Mets'd on YouTube, but also on the audio side, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. It's our best prospect recap. Wow, that was a tongue twister. I didn't think that was going to be that difficult. A lot of guys in the Mets farm system to talk about. A lot of new prospects as well, guys that we haven't spoke about too much in previous episodes. Excited to get going, James. I feel like we just got to start in AAA, though, with those big names first, right?
Yeah, definitely, because the Mets farm system right now, there's a bit of a, I don't even know how to call it, like a chasm where...
Oh, that's the exact word I was thinking.
Beautiful, where we do still have a lot of like great top-end prospects, and then it seems like there's a long road until the next wave of potential impact prospects. But AAA... I mean, I want to talk about it now because as we're recording this on Wednesday, this guy just had his AAA debut, and it was really impressive. And like already people are like, savior. But
Yes.
AJ Ewing is he's been one of the biggest prospect risers, I think, in all of baseball over the last like 8 months, like since the middle of last year when he really started to hit coming through Brooklyn and then Binghamton. And now his first game at AAA, I think he was a home run short of the cycle, 3 hard hit balls. Like the first pitch he saw at AAA was a triple that he hit off the wall in center field. He's a great defender. He's fast. The bat path is going to spray gappers everywhere. Like he's growing strength. Like this, he looks like a stud. And I think I'm very excited about him.
Yeah, he absolutely dominated AA so far, which is why he got called up just 21 games into the season for someone who I think is he's 21 right now at the time of recording. Like he is relatively still insanely young, even for AA, really, really young for the AAA level. But in those 21 games at AA, 2 home runs, 12 stolen bases, slash line 349, 481, 571. I mean, yeah, call him up. He's figured it out. In those 21 games, there was nothing that he couldn't do. And like you said, Ewing is great defensively. He is super, super athletic. And we're starting to see those exit velos and the power come to a place where it's like you can actually start to really project this guy as to what he could look like at the major league level, which is not just going to be a glove-first, slap-hitting guy. I think he's going to be able to make a legit impact on this team.
And that's kind of the exciting part about Ewing is, one, just the growth that we're seeing, how much better he's getting in a short period of time. And he was someone that we took with a comp pick in the 3rd round or the 4th round. That was the one of the last Billy Epler drafts, 2023. Or no, that was...
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah,
he was drafted 2023 4th round out of Ohio, high school.
Springboro, Ohio, baby. But we kind of likened him with, at the same time, Colin Houck. We're just taking toolsy high school shortstops to see if we can sign them away from college. And Ewing is someone who's taken to everything. The most impressive thing about him is that he looks like he's a plus defender, both as an infielder and an outfielder.
Yes.
Which, finding like a modern archetype for that, like this is like if Ceddanne Rafaela could hit.
Yeah, which would be
if Ceddanne
Rafaela could ever hit.
If Ceddanne Rafaela had plate discipline, Ewing also, again, freak athlete. He stole 70 bases in the minors last year, 70 in 124 games, and again, growing power, good plate discipline. He seems like someone that again could be some freaky stuff that could happen with Ewing, but at the same time, caution people not to overemphasize him right now. People are like, "Oh, call him right up if Luis Robert goes in the injured list." Probably not yet.
Yeah, and I don't. Is he
at least
righty?
A month? No, Ewing's a lefty.
Yeah, so like that's. I mean, we have a lot of lefty outfielders right now too.
I mean, I think we talked about this in past prospect reports over the last year. Like the Mets seem to have really dove into these lefty position players. Seems like that's something that just getting that platoon advantage, like Dana Murphy always tells us. But also, it's going to be fun to have him at AAA because we'll get real batted ball data on him.
Yes, we haven't gotten it in a while because we
get morsels.
Yeah, we get morsels, and Binghamton Rumble Ponies have done a good job of like just letting the public know sometimes the data that they even have, which is pretty cool. But relatively speaking, like it's Port St. Lucie, it's Syracuse. That's where we get actual true hard data.
Yes, and so now that we're going to go get that right now, AAA in Syracuse, we're going to learn a lot about AJ Ewing's, not his floor, but I think his ceiling very quickly.
You want to keep it on the offensive side real quick in AAA?
Yeah, you want to go Clifford?
Yeah, let's talk about Clifford. So I think the thing that people are going to see with Clifford, if you're just looking at the raw box score data, stats, striking out a ton. His K rate is really, really high. I think it's in the 40% range, or it's pretty close to it right now.
Close to it.
But he still is walking a ton. And again, the big thing with Clifford is the power is legit. The power is awesome from Clifford, and he does still have a good eye. He's getting more pitches in the zone right now. He's swinging and missing at more pitches in the zone. But when he does make contact, 5 home runs and 100 plate appearances. It's like the raw power is insane on Clifford.
Totally, and again, important thing to remember about Clifford, similar to Ewing being a AAA at 21 years old, Clifford's still 22 years old. Clifford turns 23 in July. I'm pretty sure Ewing turns 22 in August. So these are still guys who Clifford would be in his first year of pro ball if he actually went to Vanderbilt, like he intended to do before the Astros threw him an insane bag in that draft way back when. The bat to ball is scary. We heard a lot about him getting the eye surgery in the offseason, and that was supposed to help, and it helped briefly. But right now, even if you split out, and I try to do it for different pitch types, Clifford seems to be having a tremendous struggle with changeups, which would tell me that he's having weirdly, I guess he's probably seeing mostly right-handed pitchers, but that's a big struggle with right-handed pitchers. Like he's seen 41 changeups, and he has over a 50% whiff rate against them in AAA. So again, small sample, just trying to flesh out anything. He's whiffing a lot against everything. There's not an individual pitch he has under a 30% whiff rate on that he's seen at least 40 times this year. So you worry about that, but he's going to need to put the bat on the ball in the zone a lot more if he wants to be an impact bat at the major league level ever.
Yeah, and it's something that I think a lot of Mets fans have been looking for, especially with Jorge Polanco out at first base. Mark Viento's not particularly doing anything. Even Brett Beatty's struggling, who's been playing first base a bit this year. Looking for what could be the answer to, again, hate doing this, but like replace Pete Alonso with the power. We think Ryan Clifford has legit power for the major league level. Like a guy who, if things click right, can be a 30 home run a year guy, but it's now just about finding the consistency of putting the bat on the ball because, again, that swinging strike rate and that K rate at AAA is just not sustainable if he gets called up ever.
And it's kind of like we've always tried to angle this conversation. He's more of like a Lucas Duda than a Pete Alonso, where it's like, but maybe like a better defensive Lucas Duda, one that could possibly handle the outfield, one that actually has
throw to home,
an arm, but also crazy raw power. The patience will be there. You just have to make more contact in the zone if you want to make an impact at the next level.
All right, now to the AAA pitching guys. We got Jonah Tong, Jack Winninger. Where do you want to start first?
Let me start in Tong because I have a lot more on him. I think that's the one who there's a lot more stuff, and then he's also the one I think is top of mind for a lot of people because of where his shine and also just his Mets culture fit right now. But it's been a
Kodai Senga injury.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad. I'll be honest with you guys. Pretty bad so far at AAA this year. It's almost a 5.7 ERA at the time of recording. He has not completed 6 innings yet. The strikeouts are there. Strike out more than a third of the hitters he's facing, but so are the walks, striking out almost 13%, a little more than 13% of them. And the thing that's gotten to me a lot about Tong, we know that home runs can get a little bit out of control at AAA. His are really out of control. He right now is a 31% home run to fly ball rate. So that means 3 out of 10 balls that are hit in the air against Jonah Tong are going over the fence.
I have a weird thing that I saw like through his game logs. One, he's faced the Red Sox AAA three times already, which is bizarre.
I think all on the road too.
Yeah, all on the
or 2 on the road.
If it's on the road. But his worst starts have come in Syracuse. And the ball seems to be flying because there's a lot of guys in AAA right now, like just in general, that are really getting some crazy power numbers that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Like Nick Morabito has, I think, 4 home runs in like 100 plate appearances, which again, I don't think he has a barrel, but he has home runs. This is bizarre. So I'm like, is there something going on in Syracuse right now with the ball flying? Is it particularly windy? Because his worst starts have come in Syracuse, and then also his worst starts have come against teams that have seen him multiple times.
I guess this is a nudge to our friend Matt Eddies. If you have any AAA, what's it called? Park values, we'd love to know what Syracuse is like. But that's also something that, one hand, you kind of want to throw that out with the bathwater. Because like if you have a home run rate that's that high, the major league average, just to give you guys a frame of reference, is around 11%. So just over 1 out of 10. And Jonah Tong's is 30%. So right there, like, okay, there's a lot of nonsense happening with Tong. And the other thing is, though, that he will be prone to more home runs than lots of other pitchers just because he has the high-riding fastball. Eventually, when it all goes well, he wants to beat guys up in the zone. But it's still the same story with Tong, where the command's still not very good. It's very fastball dominant, where that four-seamer, he's throwing it 50% of the time against hitters from each side of the plate. And again, even with that pitch now, he doesn't really know where it's going. And he keeps trying different things with spin. That it's kind of like every single game he's working on something new. He's had a couple starts where it seems like he's dropped the arm angle a little bit just looking at his pitch plots, and then the fastball's getting more cut on it. But then there's also different cutter variations he's trying to throw, where one has a little bit more glove side movement than that fastball, but not that different of a horizontal plane. But then some are like baby sliders. There's also one that sometimes goes in between those two, and sometimes he gets that slidery death ball thing. Sometimes the curveballs are consistent, sometimes they're not. Like, still big fan of the Tong changeup, but it's still a work in progress with him, especially against right-handed batters, which is kind of scary, which is something that you would kind of hope that now, a few months into throwing this cutter, they'd be on the road to cleaning it up, but we're still not. And he's probably been one of the biggest prospect movers in the wrong direction, like in all of baseball, over the last 6 months.
Yeah, just not having that third pitch is really hurting him right now. And it seems like he's kind of abandoned the curveball a little bit too. He's not really throwing it very often.
He still throws a decent bit. I got his last game box score here against the Woo Sox.
And I know he needs something that moves horizontally. Like, he can't just be a vertical pitcher. There's very few guys that have ever been able to make that work. It's pretty difficult, especially for a Tong who doesn't have. I know the fastball is great, but not having that elite velocity and being a fastball changeup guy is difficult at the major league level. I see guys who, like, again, Savage has been able to get that slider at least to a spot where it's acceptable. Yeah. I wonder what the reason is that the Mets can't get Jonah Tong, or that he can't get himself to throw a slider and it's always cutter.
Well, I mean, he was trying to throw a slider for a little bit, but I think one of these cutters is kind of a slider, and one of these cutters is what we perceive as more of a cutter. And I think they're trying to get him to throw both to be like, can one of these get to be moving the way we wanted to be moving? But also, like, the thing with Savage also is that splitter is such an outlier pitch. Like, it's crazy. Like that, and Tong's changeup is good, but Savage's splitter is vile.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's insane.
So that's a big difference between the two of those guys right now specifically. I also think it helps Savage that he is significantly bigger than Jonah Tong. So when you're going for that straight over the top fastball release, just having, I think, even the extra lift from the height, I think, can help a little bit more with the deception of that pitch, where Tong still gets some of that, but not all of that. And I also think Savage's command right now is better than Tong. Savage is also much more refined than Tong. Like,
he's 24?
He was an elite pitcher in college. Like, it's a little bit of a different mindset. It's just weird for Jonah Tong.
Savage is the same age.
Oh, they're both 22? Yeah, I guess Savage is just out of school, but yeah, that's a good point there. But yeah, maybe Eastern Carolina pitching lab over there. But it's just Tong still has things that other people can't do, but right now he's still not able to do things other people can do. That's the best way you can describe it.
It seems like, and especially with Christian Scott getting the call up for Kodai Senga, it seems like there's very clear pecking order in that. It feels like if they can, they almost want Jonah Tong the entire year in AAA to figure it out.
Yeah, I think that's also totally acceptable because you already dominated AA. So this is a roadblock at a level right now where it's just you have to be able to get through this. And we kind of foreshadowed this in all of our spring training preseason content, like seeing where Tong was with spin. It was like Scott is well ahead of him, and it will be taken like that all season. I remember talking about that in my fantasy stuff I do. I'm like, don't even think about Jonah Tong fantasy baseball this year. Just leave that one away.
Yeah, come back 2027, see what he's got. Let's see what it is.
Or maybe we come back in June, July, see what he's got. Like Nolan McClain made big changes last year in the middle of the summer. Same with Brandon Sproat, and that got them to the levels where they were like, okay, officially Major League ready. So it can happen kind of quickly when it happens, but the fact that Tong has been working at these similar pitches, not found any comfortability or consistency with any of them, it's putting the antenna up a bit on him.
We don't always have to do things because that's how it's always been.
Look, people consider me old school, and I thought I was, but then we had the pitch clock and the ABS and ban on shifts and all these things that we've had for a long time in baseball. And you know what? Much like Mint Mobile and the other mobile carriers, I'm here for the new school and the changes that have been made.
It's a good call. You can ditch overpriced wireless. You don't have to say, oh, I'm paying that, because that's how it's always been. Get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/territory. That's mintmobile.com/territory. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5 GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Get after it, FT fam.
What do we think about Wenninger right now, too? Because he's a guy who ERA stuff looks great. 2.16 ERA. He's walking the shit out of everybody.
Dude, he has one of the lowest strike rates in all of AAA right now. Same with one of the lowest zone rates, and he's just not getting tons of chases, which I think was a bit of the fear with Wenninger, that he's a pitcher, but the actual stuff ceiling isn't really there like some of these other guys. But also at the same time, that's true of most of his repertoire, where his split is so nasty, it bails him out all the time. Like that pitch itself still has almost a 50% whiff rate. Like there's no hard contact against it whatsoever. And that's also something that him naturally will push down his zone rate and his strike rate, because that's a pitch that will never be zoned. Splitter guys will always run lower strike rates than guys with other pitches. You just need to have the other pitches that start to run the higher strike rates, because if a hitter knows that's coming, we see it with Senga, that gets spit on and then you're kind of dead. But that pitch will take him a very long way, and that pitch gives him a very ample floor. And he's still trying to find the slider. I kind of like what's happened with it. It's really just officially got that tight gyro shape. He still misses with a few sweepers here and there, but he commands that slider, I think, decently well, better than a lot of these other things. It just doesn't miss tons of bats right now. He's another guy where people are clamoring to get new life. It's not like last year where you had McClain. You were like, you should have called him up earlier, and this guy's an animal. Or it's like we're Sproat and Tonga up by the end of the year. Like, this is a time where we've built up more pitching depth. It sucks ass right now, but like we've built up more major league pitching depth. Those guys are going to get many more chances before Wenninger or Tong get any of them right now.
I mean, he feels, again, not the same kind of pitcher, but he feels Sproaty in that, like, full season AAA. If it's necessary, maybe he is one of the guys, but the Mets will seemingly try and do everything that they can to not have him up this year.
Definitely. And he's a guy who it should be relatively platoon neutral if and when he gets a chance. I think that's how he's able to have this anomaly with a low ERA, but still walking a lot of the guys and like kind of getting out of a lot of trouble because like righties, sinker and splitter, like righty, sinker, splitter, slider, fastball, like mix them all, you're okay. And just for the lefties, just having that splitter as a pitch to lean on, like you can get you out of a lot of trouble that you work yourself into. But there's just still going to need to be him getting some refinement of this command.
Yeah, last thing I'll talk about from the AAA level, again, mentioned Morabito. I think he might be getting a call up soon. He's on the 40-man roster. He's playing center field. He's playing it really well. Yeah, phenomenal center fielder defensively. And while the hitting stuff is always going to be the biggest question mark with Morabito, whether it's legit or not, he got a 110 max exit velo so far this year. I said there was no barrels. That was a mistake on Fangraphs, I believe, because on Prospect Savant he has a barrel rate, so that means he has barreled up the baseball. And he's walking, so he's getting on base. And if he's a guy who's, like, again, in a pinch, fourth outfielder / like if Luis Robert is actually kind of hurt and you need another right-handed bat, it seems like someone who can man center field defensively, or at least be like a guy who can come in and man center field defensively at the major league level, hit him ninth, get on base, steal bases, cause chaos for the top of the order. I like what I'm seeing out of Morabito. More and more, I feel like he is very much a Major League Baseball player.
And again, he's a Major League Baseball player in the sense of like fourth, fifth outfielder.
Yes,
baseball rat.
Yes.
Yeah, baseball rat. Like he's going to go up, hopefully be a tough at bat. He's not swinging and missing. He's going to make you throw him strikes. When it's in the strike zone, he's going to make contact with it. But it's just if he ever, like theoretically, like if we were playing out of the park baseball and you gave him 162 games, like you might get 9 homers.
Yes, yeah.
But
I don't think it's going to be particularly high.
But again, there's some baseball ratness of Nick Morabito I think is very fun.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for AAA. I think we can move down to AA now, go over some of those guys.
Yeah, I'm down to.
Jacob Reimer's been off to a bizarre start. The hitting in AA has been off to a really weird start just in general. Jacob Reimer and Christopher Swear are obviously like the big guys right now at AA. For Reimer, striking out a ton. So is Christopher Suero. They're also walking a ton. So is Christopher Suero, like both of these guys. And it seems like they are just both being more patient, swinging at less strikes, but then chasing a little bit more as well.
Yeah, I think I also see that with a guy like Marco Vargas, who's pushed kind of aggressively to AA, still just 20 years old, turning 21 in like 2 weeks, but still that's young for the level for a guy that hasn't like super performed over the last few years. But another guy running very high walk rates, just being very patient. I'm also kind of excited still about Eli Serrano. He's a guy that is, I like just the fact that they're actually trusting him to play some center field again as a left-handed bat with burgeoning power, with not that horrible of swing and miss rates. He's 23 years old, so he's appropriate for the level. He just also looks like someone who's a major league caliber bat, and again, like having the swing and miss rates in check here. It's a fun mix of AA right now, but again, right now the Mets system, there's like an arc of talent.
AA is the void right now of like this is a lot of like trying to figure out what these guys are, because you can find something with every single one of them. Like again, Suero. He's, I think, hitting like 180, but he's walking 23% of the time, and he has 4 home runs in 74 plate appearances. Like, and he could play catcher, outfield, and corner infield. Like, what is this player? What is this makeup? I think that's what the Mets are trying to do. Is like, what are you, Christopher Suero? Same thing with Reimer, where it's like, are you third base? Are you first base? Are you going to be a power hitter? Do you have that pop? Like, what is the deal with a lot of these guys? Even on the pitching side, I feel like we're getting that too.
And this year, I'm trying to get where Suero's games played by position. So he's started 11 games at catcher so far this season, 3 in left field.
Like,
so right now,
what is that?
they're still working him more as a catcher. They don't super trust the defense, but I think Parada's actually still at that level too. But it is funny because the last few years, the Mets, Binghamton was the team of the minor leagues, and right now, like you said, it's kind of that's our in between phase, and that's okay. We got a lot more talent in AAA, and a lot of these guys have now even started to come to the major league. Some of them have been traded. It's definitely a figuring out of who's going to be this middle class of prospects and who's going to actually be able to make an impact at the major league level.
Yeah, Santucci's a guy that a lot of people also have eyes on Be former second-round pick by the Mets out of Duke. 17 innings so far, 5.71 ERA, but the FIP is incredibly low. Again, small sample, so take that with a grain of salt. Doing the thing that it seems like every Mets pitcher and hitter is doing right now. Tons of strikeouts, tons of walks.
And maybe that's just what's going on in Double-A right now. These hitters are like, let's be patient. These guys don't throw strikes. The thing with Santucci, and it will continue to be the thing with Santucci, is like we need to see an effective third pitch come about. He messed around with the changeup at Duke. We haven't seen it much at the minor league level this year. We don't have pitch data in Double-A, so we would need him to get a call up to Triple-A to really be able to dive deeper, unless anybody out there has access to some of this data. DMs are always open for some nice data to share with the people, but at least we're seeing strikeouts from Santucci. I comped him on Twitter a few months ago because we had a lot of pitch data from the spring as a jumbo Patrick Corbin.
Nice.
Because like I can see Santucci from his slot and his feel for spin with that slider to develop a color that will be wind up being a bridge pitch if the changeup actually never comes to fruition. And then he has a fastball that has decent lift on it, especially from the left side with decent velocity, again, from the left side. And the slider just misses so many bats. Find a color to make the righties a little more uncomfortable. And you're like, okay, I see Santucci as like finding his way into the back of rotation being very formidable.
Yeah, and I think, similarly to all the guys that we're kind of talking about right now, there's really absolutely no rush. So
none whatsoever. And again, like he feels a little older. Pitching takes a while. It seems like that is
feels
becoming,
like lefty pitching takes even longer.
The lefty big guy pitching takes forever. But that's all it seems like now we're learning a bit more about the Mets ethos with ethos. I never pronounce that word
Ethos,
the same way.
I believe.
Ethos?
It's tomato.
Yeah. It seems like it's position players, no qualms whatsoever. You got to rush a guy. Get him up here. Let's get those peak years at the big league level. Pitchers, we're giving them all day, all night.
We don't want to start that clock.
Does not matter how long it takes for a pitcher. Let them come to the major leagues the moment they're ready and not too soon. I think Zach Thornton's another guy who just continues to be intriguing with being a command guy who doesn't really have anything in his repertoire that stands out, but the fastball always grades well. But then also it's a lefty who can at least mix two different breaking balls. That gives him something else for the righties. I still don't know what the future for a guy like him is. Also, Grand Canyon University. GCU right there.
They just got the guy from St. John's. You see that?
They really?
Yeah, the Lopes.
Wow, shout out to Lopes. I think my mom has some kind of master's or administration from GCU over the last few years. But there's another guy who's I think solid. Someone who's been I think mildly disappointing so far this year has been Will Watson. Yeah. He doesn't have the same strikeout numbers he even had at the same level last year in a short stint of time. We're still waiting for Will Watson just not waiting for anything. It's just it's hard to really analyze these guys without the data on these pitches. But just seeing him miss fewer bats, you wonder if they're working on something or if they're struggling with something. But that's kind of just where that level is right now.
At Brooklyn, I only have one guy really written down to talk about, Mitch Voigt, just because, top prospect in the system right now, or one of the top prospects. I don't mean to say, top prospect. He's off to a slow start. We know it's a hard park to hit in. We know high A is always an adjustment. Not concerned because he has 3 home runs so far throughout the year, which is pretty good to see that power. He's stealing bases. And I think, again, the biggest thing that me and you both talked about, he's getting every single rep at shortstop right now. They're putting him out there basically every single day. And for Mitch Voigt to really get that prospect helium, it's with that power, with that speed, if he can play shortstop.
No, the Mets are telling us that Mitch Voigt is a shortstop, and I think maybe that is for the future of the defensive position at the major league level. Maybe that's a signal to every other team in the league, like, hey, look at this really nice defensive shortstop we have that makes pretty good play discipline, and we gave him this big leg kick, and now he might be hitting for more power. That's a signal right there. But again, this is a team where there's a level where it's kind of flattened a little bit.
Yes. It's kind of also, it's so hard to tell specifically with guys in Brooklyn what's actually going on. That's like when you see these anomalies of whoa, he's hitting really well. Okay, take note of that. Oh, he's pitching really poorly. I don't really care.
Also, shout out Calvin Ziegler.
Yeah, how's he looking?
He's back. He's pitching. He's right now, the strikeout rate through 6 innings is 65%.
All right, Ziegler. Okay.
And that's in 2 separate 3-inning outings. So that's at least something. It's actually a 4. It's a 4 and a 2. But he hasn't pitched.
One of Brody's last ones or one of Billy's first?
I think it was actually probably one of Brody's last.
Jeez.
I mean, he was drafted in 2021.
So that would have been
Billy.
No,
that would have been the Seidler Zach Scott duo.
Yeah,
not Seidler. I just supposed to practice Seidler. Porter. Sorry. Jared Porter. They got my Jareds mixed up.
Man, mixed them up. That's a bad mix-up.
Also, Ziegler might be hurt because he hasn't pitched in 2 weeks.
Okay, so there we go.
At least he got back on the mound, so we'll take that.
A-ball.
A-ball, we got some stuff going on down here.
Yeah, let's go hitting first.
I think first we should do Elian Pena.
Yeah, that's exactly who I wanted to talk about. I think the exit feelers that we've gotten so far haven't been astonishing based on what I'm seeing on Prospect Savant.
They've been pretty bad. I got them. I have every single one listed right now on Baseball Savant.
But also, He is 18 years old. He is adjusting, and he is doing everything else. Like, take away the exit fields. Close our eyes. Let's be ignorant for a second. 17% K rate, 17% walk rate, 14% K rate as an 18-year-old in A-ball. That's nasty. The slash line is nasty. Stealing bases, playing shortstop. Absolutely love seeing all of that. Now we see the exit velos and go, okay, just something to monitor a little bit.
Yeah, something to monitor in the sense of this is going to be a good test of there's two different kinds of like non-in-person scouting. There's box score, base level stat scouting, and then there's all just complete ability scouting.
Yes.
And I think Elian Payne is going to be a guy that gets very in between these two types of computer scouting, like even like Mark and I like to do here, because just the base stat line right now, you see a guy who you're like, oh, this is going to be a blatant top 50 prospect with helium for more. And if you just look at those exit velocities, you're like, this isn't even close to a top 100 prospect.
Yeah, like honestly, it's a lot of Gavin Lux right now. Where like we kind of ignored Gavin Lux exit velos throughout the minors, just saw the crazy stat lines. You're like, he's one of the best prospects in baseball. He hits 400 everywhere, and then you see the exit velos, and you're like, oh, he's going to hit 4 home runs a year, maybe.
Again, but also possibly like not the similar thing, and there's a couple years apart in age and dynamism. Like this kind of happened with JJ Weatherholt, where he's growing into power still. Like he's had some better exit velocities in the major leagues than he had in the minor leagues last year. But like again, still significantly better than Elian Pena. But that was also when he was a freshman in college. We don't know anything about his exit velocity when he was a freshman in college.
Yeah, Elian Pena would be a senior in high school this year. So like he'd be.
I think he'd be getting to college.
Okay, so he'd be sitting the bench in the SEC right now if he was a true freshman.
Actually, depends what state he was born in because he's a October birthday, so he could have been the oldest in like a varsity team right now.
Okay, yeah, he would have been an old senior, a young freshman. Depends, what the NIL would have done for him. Also, with all the stuff that we are saying about the exit velos, this is not to tell you to not be excited about Elian Pena. I think there's a lot to be excited about with this kid. Again, he is 18. He should get stronger. He's going to swing the bat harder. There's all this good stuff. The fact is that he is playing really good baseball right now for a guy that had hype. I think that alone is something to be taking note of.
Just simply having a 160 WRC plus as an 18-year-old in A-ball, like that bang right there, like you should be considered a good prospect. So that's why we're saying like you're going to see some like all day the prospects list this year. If you guys are in the weeds on prospect Twitter, they're going to put Elian Pena just simply based on the data of a box score, batting average, strikeout rate, on base, all that stuff, where you're going to see him flash as like a top 15 prospect. That might be taken around to the Mets aggregators. But then you're going to see the heavy ability level scouting be like Elian Pena is not even, especially like his defense isn't going to be good enough to be shortstop. The power is not going to be good enough to be a third baseman. Not even a top 100 prospect. Realistically, he's going to wind up falling somewhere in between. I think by the end of the year, he's fairly regarded as maybe a back end top 100 prospect. Yeah. And then we see if maybe the defense is good enough to go to second base. We see if we get 110 mile an hour batted ball. We see
he's a pipeline top 100 guy. He's a Baseball America outside the top 100 guy.
Baseball Prospectus not even close. Yeah. Pipeline top 100. Baseball America. We'll see if he's on the fringe.
Yeah, one guy that is doing stuff in A-ball that the StatCast darlings are going to love. I fucking love Randy Guzman. That guy just goes up there and is like, I'm going to swing as physically hard as I can, not particularly care about any of the results, just try and hit the ball as hard as possible. He's hit a ball 113 miles an hour so far already this year. Like that is power that you kind of can't really teach.
No, power you can't teach and power that should make Mets fans excited about Randy Guzman, a guy that I don't even remember him being any kind of international signee at all whatsoever.
Prospect Savant will tell us what his signing bonus was. So let's see. Randy Guzman.
Got it right here. It says nothing. There's nothing next to the dollar sign.
Okay, so he probably got what?
10K.
10K?
Yeah, he probably got a minimum. But it's nice that he's doing this. Also nice as young as Randy Guzman is. I mean, he's 21. He just turned 21. Happy birthday, Randy Guzman, as of last week.
Wow, nice. So
I'd like to get him to Brooklyn, honestly, at some point soon. But seeing a 113, seeing him actually lift the ball in the air, and seeing a high strikeout rate. But you know what? Just put those batted balls on there. If we could mix Guzman and Pena together, that's top 25 prospects.
Yeah, I love that he refuses to go opposite field. I absolutely love that. He's like, I'm going to pull the baseball as hard as I can in the air.
I know also, I'm pretty sure we're getting, I saw it on Dana Wexler on Twitter, Edward Lantigua, a guy that still has fun batted ball data. We also still have Simone Juan, still not 21 years old, in St. Lucie, striking out just so much. He's the opposite of this, where he's selling out for power, just not working anymore. And then there are a couple of pitchers that you want to talk about down here, right?
Yeah, so we got Nicholas Carreno, Christian Rodriguez, Jose Chirinos. They're all so weird, but they have a commonality in that they all have basically the highest K rates in the entire organization right now for the New York Mets. They're not particularly walking guys, and they're all really young pitchers who do things very differently but get very similar outcomes.
Explain why.
Okay, so with Carreno, I believe, is he the left-handed one? Again, I'm pulling up his page here because I didn't have the so he's the lefty.
He is lefty.
5'10", small guy. Doesn't throw like necessarily the craziest stuff, but a fastball from that low slot again, 95 miles an hour, and just throws a ton of sliders. And these guys have no idea how to hit it. I just see like 36% K rate, 8% walk rate. Everyone's chasing and whiffing and can't hit him well. That's something that makes me excited out of that like 3/4 slot from the left side.
Yeah, pull up his fastball pitch data right now. I'd like to see the shout out TJ stats problems. Wow, one of the smallest extensions I've ever seen. I think we actually talked about this guy.
We did,
maybe towards the end of last year.
And he's also 19. He's a child.
Yeah, he's a child. 5'10". Wow, he's probably gonna grow.
He might have another inch in him.
This is amazing. So this slider's coming in. That's his most thrown pitch. And it's got a 50% whiff rate. Wow. And over a 40% chase rate. Jeez.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then you have
nice stuff.
Christian Rodriguez, who I believe has not walked a batter yet in the 10 innings that he's pitched so far, which is pretty insane. Striking out 33%. I have 6 pitches. None of them are particularly plus, but all of them are kind of okay. And I'm going to throw all 6 pitches all the time, split it. Obviously, he changes it up. He throws the changeup to the lefties, doesn't really throw the sweeper to the lefties at all. So he has a different arsenal for who he's facing. Nothing particularly hard, but he just gets like bad contact, strikeouts, chases, whiffs. 21 years old, another guy, lower arm slot because he's 6 foot tall, but comes very much over the top.
Yeah, another guy I wanted to shout out from this single A St. Lucie crew. Again, just finding these guys that can comb through and hopefully get more pitching depth in this organization. Cam Tilley was a draftee last year, 7th round. He doesn't throw particularly hard, has a deep pitch mix, and it's a fastball that, even though it just comes in between 92 and 93, he flirts to the 20 inches of induced vertical break from a very low arm slot, again, because that's what the Mets like to do. That is their type, 100%, and he gets tons of swings and misses in that pitch. It's a pitch that kind of carries his entire repertoire. We'll see if anything else comes up where he actually can wind up on the starting pitching fast track, but if not, like there's a guy with a move to the bullpen with that fastball shape. Could be a very good reliever sooner rather than later.
Take a look at Jose Chirinos for me, too. Tell me what you're seeing with him, because he's a 6'3" guy. Again, part of this AAA staff who's just striking out a ton of, or AAA, single A staff that's striking out a ton of guys. His fastball and sinker grade incredibly well. Everything else is kind of not very good, but he's, again, 33% K rate. I mean, that's just going to play.
He's one of these few guys actually has big extension. He almost has 7 feet of extension. Doesn't allow hard hits. That's kind of nice, but he flashes the worst on stuff. This is an interesting shit. He even has a lower slot release.
Yeah,
man.
He's super low. He's like almost sidearm, basically.
Yeah, the fact that he's getting 15 inches of IVB from like that super low slot. Vertical release heights is under 5.5 feet. Jeez.
Like, I don't even know. I wonder, because of like how his
he
pitches
is really
move.
sidearm. He's way out there.
That's what I'm saying. Based on how his pitches move, if he's actually throwing a sinker or if it's a 4-seam that's moving like a sinker.
They're getting blended together in the pitch pod right now. Again, shout out TJ Stats for this great AAA and single A pitch data. But it's very sinker slider heavy. From that slot right there, that could always win. And he has a changeup that is missing tons of bats. And he's throwing the changeup in the zone. I wonder if that's intentional or if his command's just bad. It might just be bad.
It's so strange, but I had to flag him.
Yeah, I like this one. That's a good flag by you. This guy is really fun stuff. It seems like they're all sinkers. If I had to guess.
Okay.
Seems like they're all sinkers, but they grade well as sinkers, like moving with 15 inches horizontal and 50. That's nice. From that little slot right there, he's getting way off to the arm side.
Yeah, and I guess that 94 will play a little bit faster because he's releasing at 7 feet.
Yeah, right. And the fact that he's a righty pitcher, and he's still throwing a lot of these sinkers against lefties, so I wonder if they even want him to throw any 4-seamers, if that sinker can wind up being outlierish enough that you can just wind up getting it there. Interesting that he's throwing that pitch almost over 60% of the time, and he has not gotten one chase out of the strike zone with it.
No, it's one of the weirdest pitching profiles I've seen.
Yeah, over 60% of them have been in the zone, but no swings outside of it. When it gets touched, though, it gets pieced. But
yes.
Yeah, he's getting whiffs. And again, if you have a changeup and slider and you have that outlierish of a release and a sinker, like you can make your way.
$10,000 signing bonus. I like to see that the Mets are starting to get these like guys that they've spent no money on to do good stuff.
Definitely. We also did not mention our guy Ryan Lambert at the top.
Well, those were going to kind of be like I had some quick hitters.
Okay.
Lambert struggling big time.
He can't throw a strike.
Can't throw a strike right now. And to be fair, that was always the concern with Lambert. We know the velo is going to be great. We know he's got some good stuff, but it's going to be throwing strikes, and that's part of the reason why it hasn't been rushed to the major league level at any point. It's just if he comes up and walks 20% of the guys, like it's going to be impossible to be good.
It also feels like a thing where it might just have to be like shake Ryan Lambert, be like, just please throw it down the middle.
Yes.
Because right now, hitters against Ryan Lambert in AAA have under a 71% zone contact rate. I'm just pulling up right now. I want to see what the lowest zone contact rate of any major league hitter is right now. Because I don't even think anyone's will be that low, truthfully. I think Murakami might be around 70, and he's one of the lowest in the league.
So it's like when you put it in the zone, they don't hit it.
They can't touch it. Please just maybe throw it in the zone. It's low right now. Slow Fangraphs day.
Zone contact only takes into account swings as well, right?
Yes, it's how many times you swing in the zone.
Okay, got it.
So the lowest zone contact rate of any major league hitter at this moment, as Fangraphs gives me the beautiful bars of loathing. Wow, Liam Hicks has missed one ball inside the zone this year.
That's impressive. He also doesn't swing very hard, right?
It's Garrett Mitchell, 70.3%. Murakami, the second lowest, 71.8%. That's really funny. So Ryan Lambert in AAA, the zone contact rate is basically the same as the lowest zone contact rate in Major League Baseball right now.
Which is kind of shocking.
Just throw it in the zone.
Just throw strikes, Ryan. Just throw strikes, Lambo. Mrs. Lambert, let him know. Throw it in the zone.
Ryan, we have to eat eggs. Please throw strikes.
And then, got to talk about Jonathan Pintaro a little bit, too, because it feels like he's a guy who, when Craig Kimbrell's time does come to an end, which is kind of...
He hit 96 on
Tuesday. Hit 96.
Tuesday.
Maybe it's coming back. But it feels like Pintaro will be that guy to come up again on the 40-man roster. He's been pitching really well in AAA.
I've been telling you, I think Pintaro is good. Like, he kind of got vilified by Mets fans because he came up last year when the season was just in free fall midsummer. He pitched one inning and he got smacked. But
yeah, we had enough of Alex Carrillo and like everybody that had been coming up and down. And he just happened to be like the culmination of all those up and downs.
But Pintaro he has such a weird slot. He gets outlier fastball movement from his slot to the point where I think that pitch will be a bat misser at the major league level as long as he can command it. I really think it will. Even if he can't command it, I think there's enough going on with him with the cutter that's been his primary pitch so far at AAA. He's fun. And we also know that he actually had like very low-key trade interest this offseason.
Yeah.
We know the teams were discussing him with the Mets, and the Mets, through everything, wound up keeping him. It's just, talk about like a low slot, side army kind of release. Like, it's bizarre. And
he does the like short arm too, right?
He gets short arm. His vertical release height is around 5 feet.
Whoa.
And his horizontal release point is around almost 4 feet out.
Damn. That's
it's really weird. And he's 6'2". Also 240, so he's got major league pitcher's build. Like, it's almost insane. The Mets found this guy pitching indie ball. I think Stearns found him.
Was he pitching for the Alaska
like Idaho
Glaciers or something? He was pitching for teams bizarre. Where you're like, they play baseball out there.
Yeah, but like he's missing bats at AAA. He's getting results. Like, he seems like a guy who's definitely going to wind up being in this mix. It might be a situation where the Mets are saving him for the hybrid role once there's some kind of requiem between. Manaea, Peterson, Tobias Myers, Christian Scott, whoever battles to the death for the last two spots in this rotation. By the time we get to the middle of May, end of May here, it looks like Pintaro maybe gets that next shot at being a 2-inning bullpen guy. Yeah, apparently we love those.
We do love multiple innings out of the bullpen.
This is my fault for calling for it for so long. Now we're too deep into it.
The one guy that you wanted though is the only one who's not doing it.
Who's that?
Tyler McGill.
Oh yeah, we'd love to have Tyler McGill in this mix right now. It's a shame he's not.
Yeah, Tyler McGill missing out on this year. What's up, man?
It's painful. But yeah, Pintaro, he's also a guy that he's not throwing the ball in the zone that much, so I think that might be one of the reasons the Mets are still holding him back and trying to figure this out. But he's a guy that's flashing stuff left and right, and he's got a deep pitch mix. He's going to be able to utilize things at the major league level. Like, he will contribute this season. I think almost no doubt about that.
Those are my guys. You got any others?
I wanted to quickly talk about. I wanted to shout out Wagaman. He's in our AAA mix now. Picked him up off waivers this week, and
I wouldn't hate seeing him get at bats over Mark Vientos right now.
It's just the Mark Vientos, the looks and the attitudes of it. I've been listening to a lot more national baseball stuff because I want to hear what the people are saying about the Mets, and there's the amount of positivity around like Mark Vientos outside the Mets world is kind of it's so different than what we feel inside the Mets world from actually watching this guy every single day because he's become a real eye test guy.
Yeah, he's hard to watch.
I mean, again, I still think that Mark Vientos will probably have a one or two more good major league seasons at some point in his life. I'm just not exactly sure if they're ever going to come with the Mets.
Yeah, I don't know if they will either. But who was the last guy you said you wanted to say?
I mean, I want to talk quickly about Justin Armbruster. The Mets picked him up off of I don't know if it was Rule 5 or it was a waiver claim from the Orioles a few years ago. He hasn't pitched yet for the Mets in AAA, but like he missed a lot of bats the last few years in the minor leagues. He's dealt with some arm troubles.
Justin Armbruster. I did not even know about that one.
Yeah, he had lat surgery a year ago, and I think he's on our AAA team right now. He's in our AAA team. Yes. He'll come back and pitch at some point. Maybe he winds up in the depth, but he was someone who he flashed in the stuff models. He wasn't missing bats, and he started missing bats. Then he got hurt.
All right, Justin
and he can't throw strikes.
Keep an eye out for him.
Just a name. Just a name.
That's it. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to Mets'd over on YouTube if you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Drop us a rating, drop us a review, download and subscribe. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
I'm Draftnik Mark. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Hopefully when this comes out on the weekend, the Mets have been winning some games, and this doesn't make you furious. But if it does, this is the future. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Bye, guys. Go Mets.